far? What have you guys been hearing? What have you been going through? Anything that's been causing you some stress in your life? Um, what have you been seeing? No comment? Nothing good?
Yeah, I had, there's a lot more phone calls. People are a lot more responsive on phone calls right now because I think they're getting into that it's time to buy mindset. I think everybody's kind of optimistic that the interest rates are going to come down with some of the stuff with Doge and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
And I don't know how it'll affect it or not. I tell them, hey man, no, I've tried to have a crystal ball on that thing a few times and I've been way wrong, even when you listen to the experts. So,
yeah,
but but I'm optimistic as well that we're going to see something happen probably mid-year.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're hearing a lot of back and forth. I don't know which one I believe. So I don't want to get caught up in that either, because we have talked about what we think's gonna happen based on the history, right? We're trying to be really careful what we say. But some of the recent people, if you look at CNBC News and some of these different news sources out there and mainstream media is talking about the how the market is, um, how tariffs will typically cause it to go the other direction because it causes people to have to spend more. Well, that just depends on if the tariffs actually do what the plan is ahead of time. The tariffs are going to be there. The whole goal with this is that we want to get more of the industry in the United States. But how long is that going to take? And is that going to affect us if we get more industry in the US? If we get more people, now we're going to be selling stuff to those places. We're going to get tariffed too, right? They're going to tariff. We tariff them. They tariff us back. So we could see some changes in the market. We don't know. That's what some people are saying out there. They're saying that it could cause it to shake up a little bit, could cause us to stay high interest rates. It could cause inflation to go back up. That's what some people are saying. Now, I think there's a lot of people that know there's a lot of experts out there doing different things. It's brought years ago and the market is going to crash. I will tell you, Monica, I'm pretty 100% sure that that will not happen. Okay. Because what would cause a market to crash? What causes a market to crash is a fail in one of the two key things, supply or demand. One of those two key things has to be bad, supply or demand. Right now we still have no supply. So in order for the market to crash, I would say the stock market, yeah, I could see the stock market having a bit of a plunder or going, stock market going down, different things happen in the Dow Jones and all that, NASDAQ stuff happening in the stock market. Yeah, but will that affect the real estate market? It typically doesn't. So hear me out on this. They had Jerome Powell was before Congress a couple weeks ago or about a week or so ago. If you guys caught that, I don't know if you did or not. On our team, I actually sent it to a little tidbit, little soundbite over to our team to hear it out. So Jerome Powell explained it. He actually had one of the congressmen question him like, "Are you going to reduce these interest rates? What the mortgage interest rates?" And so even the congressman didn't understand it. It's crazy. We're the professionals. We need to understand this, guys. The Jerome Powell does not have any control over mortgage interest rates. Okay, he does not. So that is the economy. So if the interest rates go sky high, even more, even higher, is there still going to be buyers? Yep, there is. There's going to probably see a lot more potential cash buyers coming out. You're going to see some different types of crazy financing starting to happen. You're probably going to see a lot more of those 2 and 3-1 buy downs starting to happen. They didn't happen as often as many as we thought. So they could really start going into motion because we still had an increase in the market last year, even with low inventory and 8%, 7%, 6% interest rates. So is it going to crash? I don't think so, but I'm not gonna say yes or no for sure. But I'll say typically it's supply and demand, and we don't have a whole lot of supply still right now. We don't have a lot of listings. This was something Jerome Powell said. We're in trouble because if that interest rate was to go, even he said it, if that interest rate was to go down, we don't have any inventory. So what's going to happen? potentially skyrocketing prices again. Where we had prices go up, great, but we have skyrocketing prices? No, we didn't. We had an increase last year, year over year. But we didn't have like, it didn't go down. And so, yeah, that's good. You're, yeah, very welcome, Mark. Thank you. Yeah, good stuff. A lot more door knockings. That's what Sierra says. Resorting back to a lot more vintage way. Open houses, a lot more door knocking, face to face, become better option, at least for me. It is the key, most important way to do it. And that is one of the things I wanted to talk about today, is I want to talk about prospecting. You know, we talk about prospecting. What is prospecting? Let's go back to the history, the word prospecting. We've done this before. I want to make sure I recap it and do it again. The word prospecting goes back to prospecting for gold. It was gold prospecting. You sifted through a ton of dirt all day long trying to get a piece of gold, trying to get one piece of gold to come to fruition. And how many times, I mean, some of them it took all day long. Some of them were prospecting and getting gold, tons of gold. So, but that just depends on the location that you're prospecting. Boy, does this sound familiar? This is right off what Sierra is talking about. The location where you're prospecting. So wherever they were prospecting was getting more gold or not. So they heard words that this was a hot neighborhood, or hot neighborhood. Oh my gosh, I'm going straight to real estate. They heard that this was a hot area, so they're going to run over there and start prospecting and panning for gold in there. So they're panning for gold, trying to get some gold. That is what the key thing of prospecting in real estate comes from. It comes from panning for gold, truly trying to get more gold. That's what it's all about. Brian Eisenhower's a quote from him: "More business cannot equal less personal time." I want to make sure you're doing this prospecting for gold, and you're actually making sure you're giving yourself more time. There's a lot of agents that'll get one or two transactions going, and then they'll say, "Oh my gosh, I'm up at night. I'm working on contracts at night. I have no time for family." That's not good. Take note from those agents that still go on lots of vacations and spend time. That's good stuff. It's needed. Your goal is to increase your business and income to increase your personal freedom. That's your ultimate goal. Don't forget the goal. It's the goal is to increase to get more freedom. Increase your personal business to get more freedom so you can spend more time. So the big three, okay, for you, some of you are new, some of you have been doing this a long time, but you need to hear this again. The big three is your skill level, okay? Your frequency, and your number of contacts. That's how you prospect. Just like prospecting for gold, your skill level and how you're prospecting for that gold is important. The frequency, if you didn't do it, you wouldn't find gold. If you didn't do the job, if you didn't go in that river and try to get some gold back in the day, you wouldn't get any gold. The frequency is important. Number of contacts, the amount of area that you have to do it in is a big one. The number of people. I love the way Brian puts it in the module 1. He talks about the three-legged stool. So you've got to have all three legs. You can't just have two. You can't have skill and frequency without contacts. You can't have frequency and contacts without any skill. You're not going to gain the skill though if you're not doing the frequency and the contacts. If you don't have the contacts and you're not frequently trying to call them, you're not going to gain that skill. So the skill, are people just born with the skill? Some are, they have pretty good skill. Yeah, but there's not as many people as you think. The ones that are doing the most business are typically those that chose the frequency. And then they gained the skill. So the three-legged stool is the way to go. Can you have 4 or more or 5 legs? In the perfect world, yeah, you can. But think about it this way. I like how he puts this. It's great. So having more legs to a three-legged stool isn't exactly better, because what happens if you have 4 legs or 5 legs? Eventually that table or chair gets wobbly. You know it. You're the one sitting in the restaurant that's sticking napkins underneath one of the legs because it's a wobbly table. It's wobbly. You like this, huh? It's wobbly. So you want to like make sure you have, but if you have just 3 legs, you have a pretty sturdy, because all 3 legs are supporting this chair now. you have a pretty sturdy chair with all three legs. So the three big three are important. If that's all you catch today, if that's all you catch, this is a win for me. Three-legged stool, skill level, frequency, context. Skill level, frequency, contacts. Okay, you gotta have those three in prospecting. Contacts, though, like Sierra Hodson said, she's getting back to the basics, she called it. She called it getting back to the vintage. I like the way you say it, thinking that's it. That's entrepreneur's mindset there. Getting back to the vintage, the way of doing things. Face to face. And she put it in uppercase in the group chat. Uppercase face to face. Because that is so crazy important. That's a great way to get something now. There's a lot of people out there that will make a few calls. They'll start their business. Maybe they got their license, they got going, they made a few calls, started doing a few things, and then all of a sudden they realized this is hard. I don't have the skill to do this job as a real estate agent. I don't have the skill. I'm gonna quit and go find something else to do. I don't know how many times I've had this conversation with people, with agents, telling them, don't do that. I promise you, it will go. It takes consistency and the frequency, and you're gonna gain that skill. In this module book, if you guys pull this up, it's in the prospecting module series, module number 1. It actually shows a target, okay, in this skill level section. And it shows arrows, not one arrow is hitting the target. They're all outside of the target. This reminds me of my daughter the other day was over, during the Legacy Gala that we had, she stayed at my mom and dad's house, but she hasn't had a chance to spend much time with them. So this was really a treat for us that she got to spend some time with my parents. She ended up out in my dad's game room playing darts with one of my other nephews. And there's darts. Somehow she gets a dart behind the dartboard. She didn't have the dart. She had one in the ceiling, one behind, one all over the place. Like, how do you get a dart behind the opening and closing lid? How do you do that? My daughter figured out how to do it. She didn't get one on the target, not one. And a lot of agents do that. They're not hitting the target, so they quit, thinking I don't have the skill. It's a three-legged stool, guys. The skill will come. It will come. All right. It doesn't matter what market you're in. If this is the secret sauce to any market being in production. And I'm going to give you some statistics and some really good content here in a minute. Your success is more about your availability than about your natural ability. That's another quote from Brian Eisenhower. Your success is more about your availability than your natural ability. Are you available? Are you making yourself available to do this? Or are you making excuses and finding something else to do instead of making those contacts? Now, I'll be the first one to tell you, all right? We hear this often. I actually was on a Dave Ramsey coaching call this morning with Dave Ramsey. He's part of the Ramsey, and so I've got this call I've got to do every month. And one of the Ramsey ELPs spoke up, and he was new to our group, and he said, are you guys seeing the same problem? I mean, I just feel like I'm calling these people and I'm starting to bug them. Oh, I've heard that so many times. And so many people unmuted right there, like, all right, we got to help this guy. Yeah, but you're not. Here's the problem. If you're calling your sphere of influence, let's talk about that bucket. Okay, so now we said we've got three-legged stool. We got skill level. We've got consistency, all right? And we got context, frequency and context. Skill, frequency, context, okay? Context. We have all these buckets of people to call in. Here's an exercise for you, okay? Just sit down for a minute, open up, time block this in your schedule. Everything's got to be time blocked, everything. Even doing this task, this exercise, what you do. Open up your Facebook, start with Facebook, open up your LinkedIn. If you don't have LinkedIn, you should. Open up your Twitter, open up your Instagram, open up your TikTok, open them all up, okay? And start documenting down names of people. Let's not even do that, okay? Let's back up. Just document how many people you have on each platform. There you go. Do that. Trying to open your eyes to the buckets, okay? Because that's actually I just told you 4 or 5 buckets: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, also known as X, Instagram, and TikTok. TikTok's back, guys. You can use it again. I know, I logged in the other day. There's 5 buckets of people you could be reaching out to and talking to right there. 5. Okay, so contacts is one of the 3-legged stools, right? So there's 5 buckets. Why don't you go ahead and do that? Document how many people you have in each one. Okay, how many people are in each item. Now let's talk about the another bucket, your 6th bucket, your sphere of influence. Okay, if I'm going to be calling my sphere of influence and bugging them every month, every 3 months, and I'm just calling them saying, hey, just wanted to remind you, this is Sean, how's it going? Yeah, who do you know? Did you hear of anyone this month that wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? I'm going to say don't do that. Do that every once in a great while, maybe once a year. Call in and check with them. When you call your sphere of influence, you want to have a reason. You want to have some sort of give to get. Okay, so have a reason to call them. Invite them to an event you're doing. Tell them about it. Look up online and find a downtown thing that's going on and saying, hey, I saw that something was going on downtown. I was just curious, you guys gonna make it? How about it's Christmas time. You guys gonna go to the parade? You're calling, asking about the parade. We've got a float in the parade. I just want to see, hey, would you take a picture of us when we go by? We're going to be on the legacy float. How many of your SOI can you call and say, hey, we're going to have a legacy float. Will you take a picture and send it to me when we go by? How many texts back would you get if you called all your sphere of influence? We're not talking about 25 people. You probably know 200 to 500, maybe 1,000 people that you know by name and they know you by name, non-watered down SOI. And you were to call every one of them and say, hey, we're gonna have a float in the parade. I just wanted to say, see, you think you're gonna go? If so, would you mind taking a picture of us when we go by? How cool would that be? So now I'm reaching out to them. I'm telling them I'm a realtor and I've got a float that's going in the parade, and I want them to take a picture of me and communicate with me. That's SOI, right? Now I'm communicating, I'm hanging out and having fun with my SOI. If I'm calling them and bugging them, safe to say I agree with you on that. You need to find a reason to call them each month, each week, each quarter, bi-yearly. You have a reason. We've talked about annual property analysis. How many of you have done that? How many of you have done an annual property analysis on your SOI? It works. Every time I talk to my SOI, I'm thinking of one, her name's Kate right now. I told her, this was my annual property analysis last year that I was doing. I said, hey, so I'm working on annual property analysis. I wanted to see if you have 15 minutes, I can go over it with you. What do you got going on next week? What's an annual property analysis? That was her name. That was her question. Oh, it's a once a year thing I do where I just kind of go over the value of your property and tell you how much money you've made on it so far. What? How much money I've made on it? Yeah, your property's an investment. You actually make money on it each year, typically year over year. It very rarely ever goes down. It usually goes up every year. It's roughly anywhere from 0 to 20%, 30% during COVID. So yeah, you're making money each year. She bought hers before COVID. Do you think she's got money in that? She was astounded. Oh my goodness, she said. Yeah, I'd love to have that. That's an annual property analysis. How many of you done that? That's an SOI contact. That's prospecting. They need a time in your schedule to do that. You set it now. I'm going to do all my annual property analysis in November, December, January, February, March. It doesn't matter. How about you pick a day a month to do a certain amount of annual property analysis? This is annual property analysis week. Reaching out to everyone I know, or maybe I'm only going to do reach out to 5 people a month, but I've sold 1,000 homes. Am I ever going to get to them all in 1 year? 5 a month? What's 25 a month? Not in a year. I'm going to need to do some work. I'm going to need to actually increase that number of people I'm reaching out to. All right, let's talk about other leads though. Let's talk about, so some people don't like bugging their SOI. Some people would rather make calls to for sale by owners and expireds. Why? Because for sale by owners and expireds actually want to sell a house. oh my gosh, this is mind blowing. They actually want to sell a house for sale by owners and expireds. Okay. So those are easy calls for a lot of people. I'm gonna call for sale by owner and expired. Oh, but you know what? I don't like the odds. It's 25-1 ratio. That's typically the ratio of for sale by owners and expireds, 25-1. But it takes a lot of nurtures to get those to trust you and get to know that you're the professional in the area by providing them something over time, once a week, consistently checking in with them, seeing how it's going so far, seeing what I can do to help, trying to get that appointment will happen. Okay, so 25-1 ratio. So say I call 25 in a week. Let me ask you this. Is this a good statistic, guys? Would you like to have 48 listings a year? 48 a year. Does that sound fun? I think you would all like to have 48 listings a year, wouldn't you? Yeah. So 48 listings a year, this is the numbers, okay? If I call 25 listings a week for sell by owners and expires, 25 a week, and there are that many in there, guys, and I pick up one for every 25, that's 24 no's to get one yes. 24 no's, one yes. Okay, so that's 4 listings a month. What's four listings a month? That's 4 a month. Did you hear that? 4 listings a month. Let's do that math, okay? Okay, so 4 times 12, that's 48. That's 48. You want 48 listings a year? Call 25 for sale by owners and expireds a week. Those are people that want to sell now. They do want to sell. Expireds, maybe it just didn't work. Maybe they just need another opinion. Maybe they need a better marketing plan. Maybe they need you because you're a Zillow showcase listing. You're all Zillow showcase listings, right? And it's pretty cheap right now to showcase a listing. Prices have gone down 350 bucks. You can showcase a listing right now. That's pretty cheap. If you're not spending 350 bucks on your listing, guys, start spending some money on your listings. These are the things that are going to do to give you more listings. Showcase listings aren't exactly to give you more listings, or I'm sorry, aren't exactly to get you more buyers. By showing somebody how you are a showcase agent, it actually allows you to get more listings. That's how the tool works. If I go meet with a listing agent, or I'm sorry, a seller, and they've met with 3 other listing agents, and I'm a Zillow showcase, and I'm showing them how I showcase listings, and none of the other 3 did, who are they going to give it to? I get 80 to 90% more clicks, shares, hearts, and loves, according to the statistics. So why would you not showcase every listing? Every listing of mine are showcased. Every one of them. I actually picked up a listing, 2 listings off of one showcase listing. Just by showing them, this is what I do. Should be doing that. There's so many things you could be doing to increase what you do to make you look better and better. So statistically, prospecting is in the numbers. But most importantly, guys, prospecting is in the frequency of prospecting and panning for gold. You've got to do that. The number, it's in the contacts. The number is in the amount of contacts you make. Now, guess what? Face to face. How do you do expired? How do you find expireds? Great questions here. You go to, just like you're going to value a property on the MLS, but there's an option for expireds. You can choose the dates and you can, so, of course, some people choose, like I did it for many years. I haven't done it in a while. It's shut off right now, but for many years I had it emailing me every day. My MLS, I was in there as a prospect and it was emailing me all new expired listings as of today. So when I wake up in the morning, I have a whole list of people to call. So now you go into a system like RedX or Cole Realty. You got to pay for those services to get those phone numbers, or you just door knock them. Face to face is the best way to do it. I think I told you guys a while back, I had a listing which was a relative of mine. We were going to put it back on the market. We took it off the market for a bit. We actually expired it early. And another agent that I know really well went over and door knocked. And they were like, man, she was really good. Am I sure I want to use Sean? Anyway, he was messing with me, but he was like, no, she was good. He wasn't afraid to talk to her. He wants to sell his house. Yeah. So he told her, reach out to Sean. Sean's my agent. If you got a buyer. She goes, oh no, I don't have a buyer right now, but I'll definitely, her whole spiel was, no, I have buyers wanting to buy in this neighborhood. Oh, you do? So reach out to Sean. That was her spiel to try to pick up the listing. But she was a door knocker. So anytime she had, that was part of her, and I know her, I'm not gonna say her name because she's in the Central Valley, California. That's her daily ritual. She finds out what has expired this morning, and she goes and door knocks them. Going after expireds and for sale by owners is a great strategy. Yes, sir. I'm telling you, Billy Garcia is an expert in that. He works with us in the Cardozo Real Estate Group. You want more information about that, reach out to Billy. He'll talk to you about it. He's an expert in for sale by owners and expireds. So that's a big one, guys. All right, so breaking the ties. I love this side of things because it talks about God a little bit. You guys know I love the Lord. So the Christian Bible tells us that a cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. Think about that for a second. 3-stranded cord or a 3-stranded rope, okay? So it's a rope. If you have 3 strands, there's a reason why ropes are tied like that with 3 strands and woven together. It makes it extremely strong. If you just had one, it wouldn't be as strong. It would break really easy, but you put 3 of them together, it's really strong. That's the importance of having those 3 key things that I want you to walk away with today for prospecting. Okay, you got to have those 3. A 3-legged chair. Forget about that. Skill level. Number 2, frequency. Number 3, number of contacts. All right. You ever hear the concept of sell me that pin? Sell me this pin. Actually popped up on my Facebook page the other day. If someone says to sell it, sell me this pin, the whole concept behind it is, people go out there and get that pin. They'll say, oh, yes, it's a great pin. It writes really good. It'll write upside down. It'll write inside and out. It'll do this. It'll do that. This pin is amazing. Are you going to be able to sell me that pin? I'm probably not going to buy it, right? But if you were to take this pen and say, so just curious, if you had this pen, what would you use it for? What's the reason for having this pen? What do you need? What are you thinking of doing right now? Oh, so you've got some homework to do? Let's talk about a high school kid. You got some homework to do and you don't have a pen? What would that do for you by being able to do that homework? You'd be able to get good grades. Great. You'd be able to go to college. Yeah. If you get good grades, you go to college. Yeah. So now we're talking history. The whole concept behind selling the pen is about the motivation. So when we're prospecting these people, whether it's for sale by owners, expireds, online leads, doesn't matter what it is. The whole concept is about, figuring out the motivation of what people need. It's not about trying to make this pen right upside down. I've talked about a pen and, supply and demand. If I don't have any pens and I really need to write something down real quick, but this only scrapes, how many of you done that? It only scrapes, but you really need this phone number because you're on the phone with the doctor and the dang pen and you're scratching it like that. So what do you end up doing? You end up pushing really hard to get it so you can at least get the phone number down. And now you're like getting a pencil and doing this to the pencil so you can actually see what the phone number is. I need a pen really bad. Supply and demand was huge, right? But that's not a typical situation in any market. In any market out there, you can sell real estate. In any market, you can sell real estate if you find the right motivation of why they want to buy or sell. Let's talk about these people that come through online leads. That's another bucket. Okay, we got these online leads coming through. Cruz Gomez, one of our lenders at Homefront Mortgage, I do a coaching call with her. Guys, give her a shot. She coaches with me every week. She pays me to coach her. She is killing it. She's doing a great job and newer in the business, but Spanish speaking, and I am just impressed with this young lady. She had an online lead that she got through Legacy, and she had an appointment this week, and they canceled on her. And so her response was, oh, so is there a time that'll work best for you for us to reschedule? I said, Cruz, don't give them the opportunity. Remember this, those online leads, they're nervous. If you're afraid to call them multiple times, remember they registered They chose to enter their information. They asked for information about the property, whether it was Zillow, Realtor.com, pay-per-click leads, doesn't matter what it is. They asked for information. They either wanted to see that house or they were curious to know more about it because they're interested. But they're nervous. Buying a home is a huge, huge purchase. Don't get mad at them and call them bad leads. They're not bad leads. They're people, right? They're people. They're human beings. They want to buy a house. They want to own a house. So stop calling them bad leads. There's only bad agents that aren't doing a good job at following up with the lead, or that aren't choosing to sharpen their skills to be better at finding out their motivation, the reasons why they want to buy, the reasons why they're registered in the first place. Sharpen your skills, get better at your words, find out why they were doing that. Ask them, say, hey, if they send you a text message, this is something that I did earlier too, is make sure when you're doing your prospecting, there's some tools here. One is lift up your chin when you're talking to people. Because if I lift up my chin, guess what? You now can hear that I'm talking louder, I'm projecting more, I sound a little more excited, you know, and then I go over here and I block my screen out. Can you tell right now that I'm smiling? Can you tell that I'm smiling and my chin's up? Yeah, you can. This is what it looks like when you talk to me on the phone. If I'm not excited, then shoot, what's going on? Can you tell when I'm not smiling though? Can you tell? It's hard to have a high voice and frown at the same time. It's really hard to do that. I'm not very good at it. So when you're talking to these people, in order for you to uplift yourself and project more and be more excited about making your phone calls, is one, get a mirror, put it in front of you, make sure you're smiling at yourself when you're making these phone calls. Smile, have excitement, and then call them. So if they text you, don't text them back and say, oh, well, is there a better time? No, call them right away and say, hey, I just want to reiterate what this meeting's about. No stress, okay? No stress at all. And I'm smiling, right? No stress at all. This is just me to get to know you, you to get to know me, and me to just kind of show you quickly what the process is, because it's a scary deal, right? So if I'm leaving this on their voicemail because they refuse to answer, I wouldn't do that. First, I would call them 5 times in one day when they try to cancel on me. Different times of the day. On the 5th time, I'll finally leave this voicemail. Hey, I tried to call you a few times today. I know you're probably a little nervous to meet with me, and I just wanted to say that, you know, this meeting to meet with me is no stress at all. I know we all go through things in life. I just want you to know that whatever it is you're going through, I want you to know that this meeting is just for me to get to know you, you to get to know me, and us to just talk about this process. It may not be the right time for you right now. I just want you to know that, and I know that it may not be. But if it is, the only way to find out is to meet with me and us to kind of just go over the numbers. Just talk about it. And now I alleviated the stress. They feel a little better. They feel a little more ready to commit to you, to meet you in person. You've got to be the best you can be in this business, in any business. You're starting a business, you're running a business. What can you do to be the best you for the people you're serving? Doesn't matter what kind of lead it is. It requires lots of frequent contact and communication, 9 to 10 to 12 times in 1 week. All right, that's a lot. It's only 7 days. I got to call them 9 to 12. Yeah, texting, emailing, calling. We call that. I heard this on the Ramsey call this morning too, from Howie Boven. The CCT, call, text. That's how he does it. Call, text. So when I get a new lead, I call, then I text. That's what he does. Works great for him. Call, text, CCT. There's different ways that are going to work for you, but whatever it is, stick with the 3. Consistency. Okay. Skill level is going to happen. Consistency, frequency. And then you got contacts, you got all these buckets. You got to start calling them and nurturing them. And watch the magic happen, guys. Watch it happen. It's good. All right. I'm going to go through some notes here. Anyone have any questions while I'm looking through the notes to see if there's anyone that had any questions while I was chatting
I
away?
wanted to touch base with the plan. So I have this listing. It's going to close in March.
Yeah.
So when I prospected it for the open houses, I had several people ask what I was offering it for, and they said, "Oh, you'll never get that." Well, I got 10,000 over, so I'm going to I'll knock on all those doors again, and say, "Hey, let me just want to run this past you, let you know this is what this went for. You can check it out." Hey, I'm here for you. Yeah.
Following up back now. Yeah, look what just happened. You didn't think I would. So let me show you the way I prospect and do things different. Are you doing anything different? Well, you are doing some stuff different because think about this. Why would I hire Wes Hensley if he never calls me or follows back up with me? Because that's all he's going to do with all the leads that come through on my listing. He's not going to call them, following up. He can't even do it to me as I'm the seller. So why would I even want to hire him? Dude, so good, Wes. That's what it takes. Impress them by your follow-up. Impress them on how good you follow up. That's who they're going to hire. That's who they want fighting for them to get them the best price on that property. That's who they want fighting for them to get them the most they can get for their property. Wes, I would put money down right now that you're going to list at least one house if you do that in that neighborhood. Because you're going to be showing them. There's so many pent up demand right now, sitting on the fence, just waiting for the market to turn. They didn't think you'd get it. Now you're going to go prove to them, hey, I got it.
Yep.
And I got a list of buyers too that might be interested, that didn't get this. If you want, we can meet and go over the values of your property. Way to go, dude. Good job. I love it. Way to go, boss. He's my boss.
Call me boss.
He's my boss.
You feel old.
The boss man. All right, guys. Anyone else? You guys are rock stars. I hope this helped today. Prospect for gold today. You will find it. The truth's in the numbers. Have a good week. See you guys.
See you guys tomorrow.